Were you there when they crucified your Lord? Who were you in the narrative of the Passion of Jesus? Who am I? Am I perhaps Peter? Well, I did what I could. I tried to stop them arresting Jesus, which was more than any of the others did. I even cut off a man's ear, except that Jesus told me to stop. He had to go through with it, he said. Sometimes I wonder about Jesus, I really do. I even followed Jesus right into the high priest's courtyard. I didn't just run away like the others. But then people started getting at me. Wasn't I one of them, the Jesus crowd? Even the servant girl kept on at me. Well, it didn't seem quite the time to launch into a defence of Jesus. Better to keep a low profile, wait and see. So I just tried to cover my tracks. A follower of Jesus? Me? What in heaven's name are you thinking of? And then the cock crowed, just as Jesus said it would. And I just burst into tears. I had let him down, and now it was all over. That whole wonderful adventure with Jesus, all come to nothing. Or am I perhaps Pilate? It's not easy, you know, being in charge of a whole province, even an obscure one like Judea. Yes, I have all the trappings of power, which is quite fun. And of course, it is the promotion I worked for years. But actually, it's quite lonely, life at the top. There are so many pressures on you. On the one hand, you've got those unpredictable Jewish people with their weird religion. And on the other hand, you've got Rome breathing down your neck. Anyway, there was this Jesus character, the one they called their king. Oh no, not another terrorist leader like that Barabbas. Well, we know how to deal with them, don't we? Except that this one was different. He wasn't the rabble-rousing sort at all. And you could see the charges they were bringing against him didn't add up. But he just stood there. He hardly said anything, and what he did say was so confusing. Why, he even tried to get me into a philosophical debate about truth. Well, I know I ought to have let him off. Even my wife said so. I'm proud of our Roman law, the right to a fair trial and all that sort of thing. But sometimes you just have to be realistic, pragmatic, flexible, shall we say. My number one priority is to keep the peace. So in the end, it seemed best just to let the crowd have their way. I can't say I feel very proud of myself, but it's all in a day's work when you're at the top. It's all over. We can close the file on Jesus now. Or am I one of the soldiers? It's not a bad job being a Roman soldier. Good pay, first-class training, and the latest equipment. Plenty of action, and a chance to see the world. Admittedly, I ended up in a bit of a backwater with these peculiar Jewish people and their odd way of life and way out religion. They've only got one God, for heaven's sake. Anyway, we had another crucifixion today. Another of those weirdos stirring things up, claiming to be a king. You know the sort of thing. But it was strange He wasn't like the others. There he was, nailed to the wood, everyone making fun of him, and yet he somehow seemed to be the one in charge. And the things he said, it really made you think. Now, as you know, I'm not very religious. The odd sacrifice to keep the gods off my back. But when he died, I heard my centurion saying, I really think that was a son of God. Well, they've taken him away now and buried him somewhere. So that's the end of that, I suppose. But you do wonder